The science of silk. When the silk-making process was first developed 5,000 years ago in China, silk was a rare and expensive luxury. Silk would still be sparse today if people had not engaged in the manipulation of a natural process. Sericulture, the breeding of silkworms to produce silk, has improved greatly over the centuries. The technologies used in making silk thread and weaving silk fabric have also benefited from important innovations. A better silkworm. The silkworm is the larvae, or caterpillar, of Bombyx mori, the domesticated silk moth typically used in silk production. The name Bombyx mori means mulberry silk moth. This animal's life cycle has 4 stages: egg, larva that makes the cocoon, pupa that changes inside the cocoon, and winged adult moth. Silk is the material that the larva naturally produces to make its cocoon. Bombyx mori is a hybrid, the result of breeding particular species over many years. This selective modification of inherited traits was done to make a stronger and more productive moth. For example, a Bombyx mori moth lays about 500 eggs, more than other species. The eggs are hardier than other silkworm eggs. As a result, more of them survive to develop into larvae. The larvae are also healthy. They eat enough to increase 10,000 times in size in just 4 to 6 weeks. Most moths fly during their adult stage to find mates and places with plentiful food to lay their eggs. But Bombyx mori is a mutated species of moth that is unable to fly. For this reason, it relies entirely on humans to provide its larvae with a special diet of nutrients from the leaves of white mulberry trees. Humans must also ensure that the eggs are kept at a temperature of 65 degrees to 77 degrees Fahrenheit until they hatch. Silkworm life cycle. Eggs. Larva, silkworm. Pupa, adult moth. People go through this great effort because the silk of Bombyx mori is strong and breaks less often than wild silk. The filament from a single cocoon can be 3,000 feet long when it is unwound. Bombyx mori silk is whiter than wild silk, so it can absorb more dye. The filament is also round and smooth, resulting in a finer, more luminous cloth. From cocoon to thread. For thousands of years, raising silkworms to make silk was an important part of Chinese culture. Women and girls were responsible for tending the worms, processing the cocoons, spinning the thread, and weaving fabric by hand. These painstaking chores produced beautiful results. They were also inefficient, consuming many hours per day and producing only a small amount of silk cloth. Much of the ancient process survives in current practices. Cocoons are still harvested about 8 or 9 days after they form. They are placed in water so that they soften enough to be unwound without breaking the filament of raw silk. To avoid building up a surplus of unusable cocoons, a time-saving technique called reeling has been developed to unwind several cocoons at once. The cocoons are gently brushed to find the loose ends. Then the filaments are wound onto a reel. A single raw silk filament is too thin to use for weaving, so the next common step in the process, called throwing, involves twisting several filaments together to form a thread. The thrown threads are then wound onto small spools called bobbins. Silkworm spinning its cocoon, top. Weaving silk fabric in Myanmar. Advances in silk technology. Silk moth eggs and the closely guarded secret of sericulture had to be smuggled out of China before other countries could make silk. Once the basic process was known, people sought to improve the technologies used in making silk filaments into cloth. One important invention was the French reeling machine. Its great innovation was to speed up the reeling process and reduce waste. About 1800, the invention of the jacquard loom enabled silk weavers to create complex designs quickly. This mechanized loom required strong threads, so even better sericulture practices were developed. More recently, industrial weaving machines began using air to push the thread rapidly back and forth. This meant that fewer workers were needed to oversee the looms and that costs could be lowered. As a result, fine silk products were soon available at prices that more people could afford. Today, China remains the leading producer of silk, but the demand for fine mulberry silk products reaches far beyond China's borders. For this reason, people will continue seeking better, more economical ways to produce silk. A secret for 3,000 years, Chinese sericulture spread to Korea about 200 BC, and to India, Japan, and Persia about 300 AD.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning. Welcome to the online session. Today we will do the exercise of the science of silk, the lesson that we talk about in the last class. Today we will do exercises. In exercises we have short question and words meaning. So the exercise we will solve in exercise booklet. So please open page number 73 and then 74. First of all, we would start from short questions, which is on page 73, and your first short question is question number 4. Before short question there are long questions, so that's why the number of short questions start from question 4. And the question is, what was the most important invention in production of silk? I repeat again, what was the most important invention in production of silk? The answer is the French reeling machine was the most important invention in the production of silk. The French reeling machine was the most important invention in the production of silk. Question number 5. What was the purpose of jacquard loom? This is a machine. Answer. Jacquard loom enables silk weavers to create complex designs quickly. So what is jacquard loom? Jacquard loom enabled, which made us able, the silk weavers to make complex design, the difficult designs quickly. Here is the picture of jacquard or jacquard loom, or you can say French reeling machine. That is the picture. And in your lesson, in your reading and writing textbook, you would also find a picture similar. So that is the jacquard loom or the French reeling machine, which was a revolution in the production of silk. I also included a picture of Bombay's the moth fly, the silk fly. So this is silk, and this is the name of that fly is Bombyx mori. Bombyx mori is a domesticated fly which the people domesticate and they use for silk production. Question number 6. Why people prefer Bombyx mori domesticated silk moth over wild silk? Why people prefer this domesticated silk moth? This fly and this moth that the people produce or domesticate at home. So at a result they produce those silk, so the people prefer those Bombyx mori silk over the wild silk, the silk that is produced and that people get from forest or natural silk, wild silk. The answer, because the silk of Bombyx mori is strong and breaks less often than wild silk. So it means that the silk of Bombyx mori is stronger than the wild silk, the natural silk that the people get from forest or from nature. Question number 7. Next question. Why the moth of Bombyx mori relies solely on humans for nutrients? So the moth of Bombyx mori, this fly, this one, why they solely depend on humans for nutrients? Nutrient means the food. Answer: because Bombyx mori is a mutated species of moth that is unable to fly. For example, it entirely relies solely on humans for nutrients. Now, mutated species mean change in the genes. Mutated, change in the genes. So these kind of moths being brought as a result of mutation in their genes, change in their genes. So they are unable to fly. They cannot fly. When they can't fly, so obviously they completely depend upon humans to give them food, unlike the natural silkworms. Now, moving to vocabulary words, write the meanings of the following words. The first one is industrial. Industrial mean business or manufacturing. Manufacturing means producing. Word number 2, inefficient means ineffective, useless. Ineffective is the opposite of effective, which is useful. So ineffective or inefficient, it means useless, not useful. Manipulation is the third word, which means exploitation, treatment, to use something. Word number 4, modification. Modification means change, adjustment. To bring change and adjustment, to adjust something. Now, number 5, mutated, as we talk about during the short question and answer explanation, that mutated means change in the genes. Word number 6, nutrients. Nutrient mean any substance which plants or animals need in order to live and grow. So nutrient is actually food. So substance is something which animals, plants need. Why they do need? Because to live and grow. So those are called nutrients. It means food. Number 7 word, sparse. Sparse means small in numbers or amount. Sparse means small in numbers or amount. And the last word number 8, surplus means extra or additional, something extra. Homework: revise these exercises and then make your own sentences by using these words. Thank you very much and have a nice day.